Now a GMA consumer alert. You go to the pharmacist, you hand the prescription over, you think you're getting exactly the pill your doctor said you'd be getting. Are you? Here's our contributor, our GMA consumer contributor, Elizabeth Leamy, because you've been saying a lot to be learned in this as you looked into it.
Oh yes, very much so. In a recent survey, 15% of consumers said their prescription had been switched, 2/3 of those without their knowledge.
When Amy Dietrich found out she had epilepsy, it was devastating. But through trial and error, she and her doctor found the right medication to help prevent her frightening seizures.
When you get to that place where your seizures are under control with a dosage that's correct, you don't want to mess with it.
But then Amy says a pharmacy switched her to a different drug without her permission. The change prompted a seizure while she was riding her bike.
Ended up in the emergency room with a broken leg and fractured my orbital, my eye socket. Had I been behind the wheel of a car, I could have caused an accident. I could have, put my car around a telephone pole.
Amy's neurologist says the pharmacy didn't inform him either.
Changes in the blood level, because they get a different kind of medication, can be a big problem. If it gets too high, she feels badly, too low, and she has seizures.
It's called therapeutic substitution, switching somebody to a cheaper medication in the same class of drugs. The move may be from a name brand to a generic, but it can also be to a different medicine entirely. And believe it or not, it's perfectly legal in most states. Cholesterol-lowering drugs, antidepressants, epilepsy drugs, and medicines that reduce stomach acid are switched the most.
We believe that if a patient is switched from one drug to another, that it should not be legal unless the patient and the doctor have been informed and are on board with the switch.
The National Consumers League recently conducted a survey and found that 2/3 of people who had had their prescriptions switched were never told. So why do pharmacies do it? To save money.
Insurance companies absolutely are putting pressure on doctors to switch people. They're putting pressure on pharmacies to switch people.
America's Health Insurance Plans, an industry group, told GMA patient safety is top priority, and insurance companies push for a switch only so medications will be more affordable for patients. The American Pharmacists Association says prescriptions should only be switched with the doctor's permission and when it's best for the patient.
Pharmacists are there. We're doing a lot of different things to protect your safety and your health. But I think the patients, too, need to start realizing that, in some cases, it's good to ask questions.
The first thing they need to do is to be aware.
Amy Dietrich hopes her story will help prevent other dangerous switches.
And this is why it is so important to know the size, shape, color, and strength of any pills you take routinely. And if you're starting a new medication, you can see a picture of it in the physician's desk reference, and we've provided a link to that on our site. A couple of other tips: you can ask your doctor to write on your prescription DAW, which stands for Dispense as Written. And you can also ask the pharmacy to put a note in your record that says you don't want your medicines switched without your permission.
DAW, Dispense as Written. My first reaction is, how can they do this? How can they do this?
It's pretty shocking.
So if you sense it's been done, or you see that it's been done, what do you say to your pharmacist?
Well, if you're there at the pharmacy and you see this has happened, what you may have to do is call your doctor's office and get your doctor involved. Get them to explain why you need the name brand. Your insurance company may not cover it, though, and in that case, your doctor will have to appeal for you.
Okay, thanks so much, Elizabeth Leamy. And your questions will be answered on our website.